Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. I'm your host, Dorothy Odell. I don't know about you guys, but today must be a full moon. There's been so many different things out there happening. I've been getting reports all over that it's not just me, it's everywhere. So glad I'm not the only one. Maybe it has to do with I was just having a conversation in the green room with our guest tonight about this road that's close to us, and I'm definitely not going to be anywhere near that road, but maybe the people that I've been around have been around it, and maybe that's why we're having this trifecta. But anyways, with that, I would like to introduce to you author KG Miceli. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it is Miceli, by the way.
Miceli, I'm
yes.
sorry. I meant to ask that before we get started, and that didn't happen. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So do you go by KG then, or?
Yeah. Generally by KG. We'll just stick with that for now.
We'll stick with that. All right. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what made you decide to be an author.
Okay, so I guess the original point that had me start writing would have been the loss of my son back in 2015. He passed away. It was SIDS. So that's kind of what sparked everything. I started originally, it was a group on Facebook or a page where I would post quotes and poetry and things like that and just talk about my grief and different things to do with that. And then over time, like it really didn't even take that long before I had like over 50,000 followers on this page. Right. So it did blow up. A lot of it was other people who had experienced similar things and like being able to read things that they felt as well. So that kind of turned into, actually I have the book here. So it's Angels Above Us, Poetry for the Grieving Heart. So this book is, it's full of a lot of different people who were going through similar situations. And we all kind of got together and wrote different just poetry and short stories, letters to loved ones who have passed away. That was definitely my push. However, I did publish a book before that one. That one was my thriller. So Into the Nothing. This was my first book that I had. I published this one right before. Very different. So that one was a thriller before the grief poetry was published. But they all kind of went hand in hand. I think it was a lot of the grief that I was feeling and finding a way to, I guess it was more like writing was my therapy. I used that as a way to kind of express my emotions, even though it's not all specifically grief related.
Right. Usually that's usually what happens, like something sparks something in our life and that's what gets us on the road to our profession, really. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry for the loss of your son. I'm sure that must have been difficult.
It was.
You know, I can't imagine. I've never experienced that. So, and what it's funny because all this month I've been talking about grief and how it started off. I've lost a lot of family members over the years, and so this time of the year is not the easiest time for a lot of us because we miss them the most at this time, and so God just put it on my heart. He goes, for the last however many years it's been, around this time, it gets difficult, but why don't you remember the good parts, the good memories? And that's what's going to get through the next 48 years. And I was just like, okay, well, we can do that. So just sharing every day the gifts of the memories that my ancestors have given me. So it's been therapeutic in a way. And it's also, I've struggled along the way too with it because not all memories are great.
Very true. Yeah.
So, but great. So how many books do you have authored out right now?
Right now published, I have 6. I have 6 available right now, and number 7 will be out in January. So in about a month, that one will be available. That's the one I was talking to you about.
Right. So can we talk about that one a little bit? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Hey, Omar, how you doing? His real name is Omar. I know it comes off a different name, but Um, so tell us about this new book.
Okay, so the new book, if you've never heard of Texas Road in Amherstburg, it is the haunted road. Many people have had different strange experiences there, from seeing like apparitions of, headless people, things like orbs, disappearing cars, um,
Oh my gosh.
fog, acting strange. There's been a lot of different, say like very strange things that go on there. So basically, what I've done is because of my interest in the place and the fact that I've been there and I've had my own personal experiences there, which I do write about in the book, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Um, yeah, so it did spark my interest. I decided that I wanted to kind of get these submissions from people and kind of get all of these stories into one place, kind of because there are so many people who don't know about the road and the stories. And I mean, it is such a big thing. And it seems like because they've closed it off, I think it was about, I want to say probably 15 years now, when they closed the road off. A lot of the stories, like, there's just not as much traction going on about the place. So it almost seems like it's being forgotten about, whereas before when it was open, so many people were having these different experiences. And it got to the point where, like, everybody in Windsor, Essex, they knew exactly what you were talking about when you said Texas Road. Now, like, ever since I started this book, there's so many people who are like, what is that? Never heard of it. Right.
Including me, never heard of it before. I can tell you that I'm staying far away from it.
I don't blame you.
I need my car operational. I don't need it disappearing, anything like that. Although there are some days I wish I could just disappear.
I hear you.
This morning was one of them. But yeah, so that is interesting. So I'm glad you found people that knew about it and had stories because
Right. Well, right
it's
now oh, sorry.
no, that's okay.
Okay, I was gonna say right now I'm at 21 stories and I've got about another 6 to add. Like, there's a lot. It's
You might
not
want to
like,
do a part two.
maybe. I'm trying to get as many as I can into this book. And I mean, if it does blow up to that point, I may do that. Or I might even pick a different haunted area in Windsor, Essex County, or even Chatham, Kent. Pick another haunted spot and get stories from something else too.
That's interesting. That is completely interesting. So I'm gonna have to get the book because I want to hear your story and your experience.
Don't laugh at me though.
Well, I won't laugh at you. That's not. I'll laugh with you. How's that?
Okay, that's better. I was laughing. So
It must be good. Now I really want to know. Anyways, so why thrillers? Why is thrillers your favorite genre?
you know what? I don't even know. I think so. Ever since I was a kid, like very young, I mean like 6 years old, I've loved horror movies. Anything scary, dark. I grew up as like a horror movie buff, so I think that's probably what did it. Eventually, it just it captures your interest, and then that's the thing that you hold on to.
Right.
Yeah, I would
And that
definitely.
is one movie type of movie I refuse to watch. But that is so interesting. But I mean, a lot of people do love that type of thing.
Mhm.
The more blood and guts, the better for a lot of people.
I'm not so much for like. I mean, I have one book that's a little bit. This one's a little bit gory. If you like dark romance, but it's like gory dark romance. So,
Right.
but the rest of them are more like psychological thrillers rather than like a horror. I'm
Oh.
more into just like eerie, like creepy and eerie things.
What was the name of that one movie that they did it out in the woods and people were
Cabin in the
just
Woods.
no. It was like a paranormal thing.
The Blair
And
Witch Project.
yes.
Is it? You know what?
Yes.
So many people said that I don't have it with me right now, but the cover of the Texas Road book, someone actually looked at it today and they said that looks like the Blair Witch Project. The picture, the fact that you just brought that up, that's so strange. Because the picture actually did look like something like that. And I had to explain to them, like, it's kind of like the same stories. It's very similar. Like, there are things about like witches there and stuff. Like, I don't know how much truth there is to a lot of these stories, but there's
Right.
it's weird, like almost identical to that place.
Right. If you're live and listening in, I want to know if you have ever experienced some of these stories that we're talking about this on Texas Road, because that's be interesting um, to find out from our audience if they know of anything about it. Or I know our Omar's from the States, so if there's any of those stories roaming around out there, I'm
You know
sure
what?
there is.
And I am still accepting submissions. So if there is anyone out there that has a story, I mean, send it in. I'm accepting till the 10th, or sorry, not the 10th, the 20th. So we're past the 10th now.
Yeah. Yes, we are one day, but still, that's awesome. And so, what are the other books then?
So I showed you Unspoken. Okay, so I have three other ones. So the next one, I'm going to go right back to the grief and mental health portion. So this book here, Point of View, this was written by me and one of my close friends. Her name's Alexandra Mayu. We both went through a lot of like hardships with our mental health and just different things going on in our lives. But the fact that we were both kind of there together through everything, like our stories did kind of coincide a lot. So we decided that we wanted to kind of collaborate and make a book based on our own personal accounts with mental health, like our, tips and just things like that. That we could give people. Mine was a lot more focused on the grief and depression and like anxiety and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into her part because I don't know if she wants me to publicly speak about it, but I would say if you want to read that one just to find out like what our stories were, like it is a good read. I did get very raw in that book. So when it came to the grief and the story of what happened, I was very descriptive with everything, which I never really told a lot of that story and what happened that day to me. I don't really speak about it much even to this day. So it's like that was the only place where I ever went right into describing that day and the emotions and all of that stuff. So that's what that book was about.
Right. And so, where can people get your books?
So they're all available on Amazon. I either on Amazon or they can contact me and I can get them a signed copy as well. I do have this one here, which was the next one I was going to talk about. So I'm still here. Sorry, there's like a glare there. Okay, so I'm still here. This one is available on Indigo's website as well as Barnes and Noble. I think it's on Target and also on Amazon and through me. So this book actually won a award. I went to Arizona a month ago for the award ceremony. It was the International Impact Book Awards.
Oh, wow.
So that one, yeah, there was like a big fancy gala, and I have a big nice trophy. Yeah.
Wow.
Have it over here.
So award-winning authors should be put on.
Yeah. Only that book so far. I have high hopes for Texas Road, though.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it, especially if you've been on radio and all that lately, like you said.
Yeah, I am in there's talks of me being in a partnership with the one radio station in Amherstburg. We've been doing some things like together. I'm not 100% sure what's going to go on with that, but I'm sure that there will be something. So make sure you tune in around the time that the book is done. It's 107.9 in Amherstburg.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll have to put that on the calendar as a reminder.
I'll send you, I'll send you a message when the book is done so you can see
Perfect.
it. I'll send you the link for it. I do have one other book, completely different from all of my other ones. So I do have a children's chapter book as well.
Oh, wow.
So this is the first one to a series. I do have the second one that started, not finished yet though. So it's The Adventures of Abel Saurus. This is episode 1. So my son's name is Abel. Basically, he came to me one day. He said, "Mom, I want you to write a book about me." So that's kind of what sparked this. He came up, he helped me come up with the storyline and all of that, everything that happens in the book. It's basically about him. He wakes up one morning and then he sees something weird under his bed. So he looks, and then all of a sudden this portal has opened up underneath his bed. So he climbs through, and when he gets to the other side, it's like a big magical world where all of his toys and his stuffed animals are alive. Right. And in each of these episodes, it's going to be where he climbs through because he's got to save the day, or, someone has a problem in each of the episodes and he goes in there to save the day, and then he comes back through. So basically, like, this portal opens up when they need him.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to quite the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, that was he. Like I said, he helped me come up with the whole idea.
Wow.
Mhm.
And how old is he now?
He is 5. This book,
5.
yeah,
He
this book
came out.
came out actually this was in December of last year. So this book's been out for just about a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the imagination for a 4-year-old.
Right.
Wow, that's awesome. Huh. I'll have to talk to my stepson about that this weekend. Hey, what can we write about? Maybe do a collab project or something. You never
Yeah,
know.
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Anybody who has kids out there, this could be something to get them engaged and get them off computers and games and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Never mind the tablets. Put them away. Read a book.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what would you say would be the biggest thing that you've had to overcome in being an author?
In being an author, I would just say the hardest part is so writing books itself. I mean, it's not easy, but you can do it. It's the marketing part that's the hardest. It's continuing, like, so when you write a book and it's published, you have it in your hand. Okay, well, that's step one. But what do you do after that?
Mhm.
It's selling the book. It's hard to sell a book. And sometimes it is kind of a setback where it makes you go, am I even, like, should I even be doing this? This isn't going to go anywhere, right? And it's kind of, swallowing that and telling yourself, just keep doing it. And don't do it you know, because you're trying to sell a million copies and be a New York Times bestseller. Like, do it because you want to do it. Do it because it's something that you enjoy. And
Right.
that's, I mean, that's something that I guess I did have to overcome. There was a few times where I almost quit with my writing. Now, I mean, to see where I'm at now, I am so glad that I didn't, because at this point, I mean, I have a book that's won an award, and there's like I said, there's just a lot of opportunity out there.
Right. I
Mhm.
think when you're an author too, it gives you credibility.
Yeah.
On a lot of different areas, and depending on the genre that you do write, but even just having a book out there
Mhm.
is people are like really impressed with that. Not that, like you said, we do it for the impression, but um, you gotta like it and wanting to inspire the next person, I guess.
Right. Right. For me, it's more like it is entertainment, but then there is also the mental, like I said, the mental health and the grief aspect. That was a big portion of what pushed me in the beginning. And then when I started like really finishing these books and stuff, and I was like, you know what, these thrillers, like they're just turning out so well. That's why I kind of chose that to be my main genre. But I do like to write a little bit of everything. Like I feel like I don't like to limit myself to one genre. I have my favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's next after the Texas Roadhouse?
So if I told you, you'd probably think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I have like 5 books that are half written right now. Everyone tells me I'm nuts for doing that. But I'm like, I had someone ask me today, she's like, how do you not get writer's block? Because how do you have 6 books out and I came out with, I'm telling you, I've had 4 of these books come out in the last year, in 2023. Sorry, 2024. I forgot what year it was for a minute. So 2024, I had 4 books published just this year alone. And she asked me, how do you not get writer's block? Like, how are you able to do this? I told her, you know what my trick is? I don't just write one book. I write 5 books at the same time. And when you get writer's block in one, you go to a different one.
Right.
That's my trick. I forget what your question was now at this point.
No, that's great. Well, it's funny because I don't know about you, but I call it squirrel syndrome, where I'll think of one thing and then I jump to something else and then jump to something else and jump to something else. And so for people like us that have that can focus maybe not focus on something, but write something over here. I think that is that's probably that's a smart thing. Um,
That sounds similar to what I'm doing too. But yeah,
yeah.
okay, so my next book, I have 2 children's books that are half written. And then my next big one is so the one book I showed you, Unspoken, it's a series of dark romance short stories in here. So there's 5 different stories in this book. Basically, what had happened was I started writing one, and it was way too long to be a short story. So it is now becoming its own novel. It was born out of this book, but it's its own thing now. It's called Fish, and that one is probably going to be released in April or May of 2025. So that should be the next one after Texas Road is done.
So do you self-publish them all, or do you have a publishing house?
No, I publish them myself.
That's what I did too with mine. It's just after the experiences that I've had, it's easy to do it yourself, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I mean, it's still doable. Like, some people like to shun you for like doing it that way, where they're like, well, you're not going to go anywhere if you do it that way, da da da. But it's like, you know what? We can. All you got to do is do it.
Right.
Like, you're capable of anything that you want to do in life. So, in my opinion, if that's what you want to do, like, just push it, just do it.
Right.
Well,
like, I think it is exactly. If you have a traditional publisher, you still got to advertise it yourself, anyways.
Right.
So what's the point of having the publisher, so that they can get a percentage?
There you go. No, why wouldn't you just take it yourself? You pay someone a little bit to do the, like, print the copies or whatever, but then, I mean, you're making way more off of each book.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you've got to advertise it yourself, you may as well keep more profits for yourself. Even if, like you said, even hire somebody to do a little bit of marketing every once in a while too.
Right.
You're still up further ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion, anyways. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, if some publisher wants to pick me up and say, "Hey, here's $100,000 signing bonus," perfect. Sign me up. But
right. There you go. But I mean, that may happen, and that can still happen if you start yourself. That's the thing. I wouldn't say, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say do that right off the bat. Like, I mean, you can, all the power to you, but I wouldn't do that right off the bat. Like, maybe eventually, if you write like a book and then you're like, I want to try this a different way. It doesn't limit you.
No. Yeah. And then who knows? So do you think any of your books will become movies?
I hope so. I mean, that'd be cool, but I don't know. I think that'd be really cool.
Have you tried? Have you approached?
I have. I've talked to a couple producers in our area, 2 different ones. It is a possibility. Like, one of them that I was talking to, we may end up doing something, but they're all just really busy right now with their own projects and stuff. And I think it's the whole funding aspect and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. The one book that we were talking about was I'm Still Here, the thriller, the one that won the award. But I think a lot of it, like I said, is just to get the funding and the place and the time and all that to do it. But it may end up coming into focus at some point.
Well, just a little tidbit that I got from a Canadian film producer, because we're here in Canada, we can get grants for funding for some of our films. And I also heard that, like, Toronto and that is going to be just as busy or bigger than Hollywood. So Toronto is the next Hollywood. But by the time 2026 hits, or before, I've been told that, you'll see that area it'll be bigger than Hollywood.
Looks like that's where we got to go then. We're in the wrong spot.
No, because we're here in Canada, so we can get the grants, and then we just have somebody else do it in Toronto.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I saw those grants. Like, I was looking into that, but it was like you can only apply once a year, and there's all these different criteria you have to meet. Yeah. I don't know if I would have qualified. Maybe like a producer would. Yeah. But
well, and that's why you just become friends with with different people. Because let's face it, depending on how your contract is with the film producer, they're either going to get a percentage of the movie, or they're going to get a little bit of each. But let's face it, when it becomes a blockbuster video, who cares when it brings in $95 million its first night?
Right. Yeah.
I'd share the wealth at 95 million.
Right. Absolutely.
I know. I think big. Some people are probably watching this thinking she's ridiculous. Like, that's way too big.
You're never going to make that much off a book. Like,
you never know. You never know. I mean, I think the sky's the limit. And
Yeah.
well, all these movies, these blockbusters, a lot of them came from a book to begin with. So you
Most,
write the book first, and then then you get the screenplay.
hmm
And I've heard that the screenplay writing is different than an actual book writing, but that's why you just hire a screenwriter.
Right. And I mean, I've seen, let's face it, I've seen some terrible movies that have made a lot of money. Like
Exactly.
just terrible movies. So I mean, it's not like it has to be like, I don't know, Blumhouse.
And if you get actors that love what you're doing, that
Mhm.
love your project, some of them have been known to even help fund the movie.
That's awesome. That's great.
So
That would be
all, the,
cool. I mean,
all these tidbits I've learned over the last year
mhm.
about putting it together, because I have a couple people that I'm like an agent for, trying to get them their book into a movie. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Definitely awesome.
we'll see.
I
Who
can't wait.
knows?
Well, I hope someone from our area, I mean, makes it big like that one day, one day soon.
I hope so.
No matter if
Well, all we have to do is just never give up, right? Never give up on what you're doing. So, what is the one thing that you want people to take away from your books?
um like from the books themselves.
Yeah, like are you just doing it for like an educational purposes, or do you want people to learn something from them? Or I guess it kind of
Um,
probably depends on the book too, I
yeah, I was
guess.
gonna say if we're talking about the thrillers, that's more just entertainment. As far as the mental health and the grief, it's more just to kind of remind you that you're not alone, that there's
Right,
always someone out there that feels the same way as you.
right,
Like even when I know, like when it comes to depression and anxiety and things like that, like you generally feel like you are completely alone in the world. And that was kind of the reasoning behind both of those. Um, just to remind you that, you're not alone in your grief, and you're not alone in your depression and in your thoughts. Like there are other people who do feel that way as well.
right, right. 100%. That's funny. That's why we started the show, because I wanted people to know they weren't alone in
Mhm.
whatever they were going through. And that has been the thread through of um, the, the entire production company, really.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's amazing what you're doing as well. I think
well,
it's
thank
great.
you. Thank you. We're growing. We're on Roku. Now it's just sky's the limit from here.
Oh,
Somebody wants to give me a contract to do,
someone give
to
her that contract.
give me a contract so that we can do daytime TV like Oprah. I'm up for it. Let's do it. Let's help people around the world. Bring light to the dark places that are out there.
Yeah,
That's what I'm all about. Let's just help the people.
I agree.
Put it out there. Someone's got to say yes one day. You never know.
hmm Yep. Just keep on keeping on
Keep on
eventually.
keeping on. Exactly. Exactly. Well, yes, you'll have to tell us exactly, when the new book comes out. I'll definitely post that for our listeners, because that's exciting. Um, and good on you. 6 books. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
A
Thanks.
huge accomplishment. And five in the can. And five in the can by the end of next year. Another 5.
Well, I'm hoping by the end of next year. I mean, like I said, the one May or April, but then the other ones are a bit shorter, so they shouldn't take as long. I'll probably have another 4 or 5 out during 2025. I'm
And
trying
how do
to.
you
I'm
do
trying
that
to
with all the
put.
kids
Okay,
too?
I got to put like my own little goal to achieve. So I'm like, I need at least 3 books a year. That's where I'm going for. At least 3. If it's under 3, I mean, I'll be angry with myself. So
There you go. I love that. And I know it's going to happen.
thank you.
Absolutely. I do have your link tree going across the bottom. So definitely. Is there anywhere else where people can reach you?
Um, I pretty much all of the links are on my link tree there. Usually Facebook, just look me up, author KG Miceli. You can look me up on literally anything, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on YouTube, wherever. Look up that name, you'll find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much to our guests for joining us. And thank you so much, KG, for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure to get to know you.
Me too.
And looking forward to, getting the copy of the new book for sure. And just finding out more about Texas Road.
You're going to go do a whole Google search after this is done, aren't you?
Well, after maybe I get my workout done, now I got to go get my butt kicked by my personal trainer.
Sounds
So,
good.
yeah. Muscles in Motion in South Windsor. So if anybody's in the south side of the Windsor, go to Muscles for Motion. Tony gets you into shape. We do group classes, but the groups are so small, it almost feels like you have a personal trainer.
Is this outside?
No, this is
Okay.
inside.
Okay.
This is inside. I'm sure in the summertime he might. I just started with him in November. So, but I leave there and I want to kill him. So, it's a good workout.
Well, good luck tonight.
Thank you. And good luck on your book. You'll have, like I said, let us know when it comes out. And thank you again so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Don't forget, guys, be unstoppable in all that you do, and same time, same channel next week. Bye for now.